So, I'm sure everyone's heard about Sunglitters' death on our priest. We kind of touched on it yesterday. It was the end of the stream, so I didn't really get a proper chance to break it down. So I kind of wanted to talk a bit more about it and sort of why these kind of deaths happen and how to avoid them. Because I think it's not like an isolated thing, and it's something that other people can probably learn from as well in terms of just like a mindset. I don't want to call it phenomenon, but basically when you're like learning a skill, like driving a car, or riding a bike, or playing WoW on hardcore, at first you're going to be learning and you're not going to be confident. And a lot of the time you're not going to have an accident because you're still learning and you're overly cautious, whereby you're kind of holding yourself back to the point where you don't get to that level where you're sort of out of your comfort zone and make a mistake and hurt yourself, right? Or crash the car or kill your character. After a bit of time, you'll get better at whatever you're doing. And there's this weird intermediate phase, right? Where like you kind of have a grasp on what you're doing, but your understanding has kind of outpaced your actual mechanical ability. So then what happens is you will get overconfident and put yourself in a situation where you have been overconfident in, you know, to get there, but then something will happen, maybe through randomness, maybe it won't happen because you'll get lucky or whatever, but the chances are like a random thing can happen that will then demand you to make a mechanical adjustment to what you're doing. But because your mechanical ability hasn't caught up yet, or your decision making isn't quick enough because you're not experienced enough yet, now what happens is you are in a very uncomfortable situation and you panic, right? And that's where you'll crash the bike, you'll crash the car, you'll kill your character. And literally watch this, watch what happens, right? We don't care about the comments. Well, actually we kind of do. So what happens, she comes in and she throws a holy water. Now normally you're gonna have a mage with you. They have no mage, so these mobs don't die from the holy water. So now she has aggro of all these mobs, right? Now on top of that, the group is basically AFK, right? That doesn't help matters. There's no AoE taunt from the warrior. Rogue can't really do too much, like a blade flurry and slowly kill some mobs, right? But Rogue can't do too much here. Hunter, I guess, has a slow trap down over here. You'll see when they turn. Could be doing like an AoE trap, but probably isn't too much on the Hunter in this case, I would say, because the Hunter's not really expecting the priest to come balling in like this, right? It's important to note that Holy Water has a really low range. And then there's the other priest who's Shadow, I believe, that could spam some heals on her to help her out. Doesn't do that either. Now watch what happens. She gets all these mobs on her. Now she's panicking. And Anne actually even calls out Holy Nova, right? But because she's panicking, she isn't experienced to know enough at this point to know she can just press a couple of Novas and all these mobs are going to die. These mobs have like less than 1,000 HP. They've got like 500 HP or something. She doesn't cut back to the trap. No heals from the other priest. No AoE taunt. Nothing, right? But it shouldn't be on the other people to save her, right? She can save herself here. One, by just not putting herself in that situation, right? She gets in that situation by being overconfident, right? She started to learn the game a bit. She started to get a bit more of a grasp of it. And she gets overconfident, throws the holy water, but there's no follow through. Nova is not even bound, right? And this is what I'm talking about, right? The mechanical aspect of her gameplay has not caught up her understanding yet. So you still have things unbound, right? There's no lip, right? There's no health pot. She just tries to cast, is panicking, just doesn't press anything. No dummy, no health pot, no lip, no nifty stopwatch, no Novas. Nova's bound on 3 here. True. But you get my point, right? It's a completely livable situation even after she puts herself in this bad situation. But because she just isn't there yet, right? When the panic sets in, you forget a lot of stuff, right? You need to be at a level, if you are going to do this play, to be ready for what comes next, right? So this is and this isn't just Sunglitters. This happens too, right? There's varying levels of this, right? But you'll see that there's people. A lot of the people that are dying are people that are at this level, right? Where they've like kind of learned the game. They were playing it very safe. They got a little bit more confident, and now they're putting themselves in riskier situations, right? Where things can go wrong. They might not go wrong, but they can go wrong, right? And then what happens after that is if they manage to live out that phase through just maybe luck, or just they are a very overcautious person, right? And don't get these situations. They play it safe. They build more knowledge, mechanical ability, understanding, whatever. Then you'll get to this higher tier. And that's where the deaths fall off again. Because now if you get into this situation, you're more experienced, you're better mechanically, etc. And you're able to just style it out, right? So you don't crash the car, you don't crash the bike, you don't lose your hardcore character. So I just thought it's an interesting phenomenon where this middle tier is actually where you're going to see the most deaths, where people kind of have a little bit more of a grasp of the game, as opposed to the really, really new players who, okay, maybe somebody dies but before level 6 or something, because they literally like have nothing bound and run into some mobs and just panic and die, right? That can happen too, but I think that's a lot less common than these kind of deaths, which don't necessarily have to happen at 60, right? They could happen along the way as well. If you look at Sunglitters Warrior, same thing, right? She gets cocky, she pulls 5 mobs, she doesn't quite, it doesn't go quite how she expects, she panics, she dies. So I think that this is a thing that honestly a lot of people can learn from, especially if they're playing a new class. Like that middle phase where you start feeling, if you start feeling yourself getting a little bit more overconfident, a little bit cocky, feeling like you know what's going a little bit more, think this is where it's dangerous. This is where shit can go wrong. This is where I can lose my character. So yeah, I think that's something everyone can keep in mind and learn from if they want to try and stay alive on hardcore. So yeah, super interesting clip. I absolutely on her. Like there's definitely things the group can do, but it's absolutely on her, and it's such a good example of what I was just talking about. And then wait, is Cillian dead? What the fuck? What happened? No one rebanished? Dude, what happened? Oi, you. Dave, probably. I know you're not subbed. I know you're not. There's like 90% of you that aren't subbed. Get on it. New YouTube. We're building it up. Let's go. Help us out. Also, do the bell thing. That's good too. Probably. Okay, so this is what I was saying to Parla. In the, I think it was the 20 man. It was in one of the raids. I said, Parla, come back. You're going too far. Priests have to run into the banish. Okay? I think like people remember that happening. And then Parla came back. You should not run this far as the tank. There's no fucking reason. You can go here and then the healers can heal you like this. But running here, you drag all the healers deep and you're standing so close to the banishers. Now watch what happens. She's just in the middle of all the fucking banishers. And like they're all ending. Like this is so scary to be standing here. I mean, they just come out and just smack her. There's just no rebanish. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds on one, 3 seconds on the other. Like, just locks are completely AFK. And tank shouldn't be over there. TLDR. That's poor. Real poor.